Hi guys, and welcome to our first lesson of week 2. You can see here that we are going to be going over volumes again. So for some of us, we maybe haven't covered this yet. For others, we have maybe seen it, but it's been a long time ago. Feel free to skip through the bits of the video that you're already confident in, or spend longer and rewatch the bits that you feel you need that wee bit of revision on. So the first thing we are going to do is quickly run through all of the different formulas that we need. So starting with shape number 1, we need to know the length, the breadth and the height of our cuboid in order to do the volume. And our volume there is just multiplying those three sides together. So L times B times H. For a cylinder, there are two things that we need to know. We need to know the radius of the circular face, and we need to know the full height of that cylinder. So you're thinking on all the circles that are piled up on top of each other to make up our cylinder. Here then, our volume formula is pi r squared, which is our area of the circle, times by the height. For our prisms, so that's when you have a shape at the front. So in this case, we have got our triangle here. And you can see that it's all the triangles stacked together to make our triangular prism. So it should have the same face at each end. You can see there that we've got the same triangle at the front and the back. In order to be able to do our volume of a prism, you need to know the area of the face that is going the whole way through, and then you need the height or the length of your prism, so all of those triangles stacked together. So your volume of a prism is area times by height, and for a triangular prism, this one specifically, we should know that our area of a triangle is a half times by the base, which is this bit here, times by the height of your triangle. So that would be your height of the triangle there, and then we would need to multiply it by our main height of the prism. For our cone, we need to know the radius of the cone, and we also need to know the height of the cone. So that is going straight from the base straight up to that very top point there. It's not the diagonal line, okay? We don't want this bit, it's not that one. It must be the straight up and down. Our volume of a cone then is 1/3 pi r squared h. And you can see here that our volume of the cone is just 1/3 of our volume of a cylinder. So that's a handy connection to spot there. Our last one that we're going to need for our lesson today is our volume of a sphere, and the only thing we need to know is the radius. Our volume of a sphere then is 4/3, and yes, that's correct, the 4 on the top and the 3 on the bottom. 4/3 pi times by r cubed. It's a 3D shape, so we're going to cube it there. In your Nat 5 apps, you will get your formula of your cone, and you get your volume of your sphere, but the other three you need to remember. So you need to know this one, and your prism as well. Feel free to pause the video here and take a screenshot or copy down the formulas that you need so that you don't need to keep going back in the video. So we're going to do one example of each shape. So my volume of my cuboid is length times breadth times height. So we're going to do 6 times by 2 times by 7. When we multiply, it doesn't matter the order that we're doing it in, just so long as we've got the three numbers there, so 6, 2 and 7. If this was in a non-calculator, I would just pick two of my numbers to multiply and then multiply the last one. If it's a calculator one, we can just stick all the numbers in at once. If it was non-calculator though, I would maybe do my 6 times 2 is 12, and then we're going to multiply by 7. And then 7 2s give me 14, and 7 1s are 7, plus that one is 8. All of my units match up here, so it's centimetres cubed for volume. Next, we're going on to our cylinder. Again, I'm just going to check my units are matching up here. They're both in centimetres, so I'm going to need that my volume is pi r squared h. So remember, pi can also be 3.14. So if you can't find the pi button on your calculator, or you're being asked to do it without a calculator, you need to know that pi is 3.14. What we're going to do then is pi multiplied by our radius. So the radius relates to the circle, so that's 3, and it's going to be 3 squared. And then we are going to multiply by 11. This time it is important what way round our numbers go, because there's a big difference between 3 squared and 11 squared. It's always the number at your circle that we are wanting to square here. So that means then that I'm doing pi times by 9 times by 11, and then I can just pop that into my calculator to get 311.02 if I round to 2 decimal places, and then that's going to be centimetres cubed. Okay, here is your first set of questions. You're more than welcome to pause the video now and try these questions, or keep going with the examples and do all of the questions at the end. Our next examples then, so our volume of our cone was 1/3 pi r squared h. Now our issue here is that we need our height, which we've got, and our radius, but our radius is only this bit here and we've been given our full diameter. We should know that our radius is half the diameter, so our radius is going to be 3 centimetres there. So I'm going to have 1/3 times by pi times by 3 squared times by 14. That's then 1/3 times by pi times by 9 times by 14. Now the way that I would type this into my calculator is I would do my pi times by 9 times by 14. I would then hit equals and then go straight to divide by 3 for that 1/3 there. So that's how I would type the question in if I wanted to do it all in one line. So pi times by 9 times by 14 is going to give me my 395.84, and we are going to divide that by 3, so that gives us 131.95. Again, it's going to be centimetres cubed for volume. For our prism, the first thing that I would do is do my area of my face. So our area of a triangle is 1/2 times base times height. So the base of my triangle is that 5, and the height of my triangle is 6. So I'm really doing 1/2 of 30, which is equal to 15, and area is centimetres squared. My volume then is just going to be equal to the area times by the height of the prism. So in this case, it's going to be the 10 for my height here. My area was 15. We're going to multiply it by 10, and we get 150 centimetres cubed as our answer. Again, I've just split the questions up to be after each set of examples that we do. So here is the next 5 questions. Feel free to pause the video now and try them, or have a go at them all in one go at the end. Finally, our last one that we want to do then is the volume of our sphere, which we said was 4/3 pi r cubed. So we're doing 4/3 of pi times by 5 cubed. And that's really going to be 4/3 of pi times by 125. So the way that I would then type this into my calculator is that I would do my 4 times by pi times by 125, and then divide that whole answer by 3. So if you were typing it into the calculator, I would just type what's in the bracket there, hit equals, and then type divide 3. Don't clear my screen once I've hit equals, just once I've got that answer, type divide 3 is going to give me 1570.796. Divide that by 3. So once we divide that answer by 3, I get 523.60 centimetres cubed. Here are the next 4 questions that are related to your circle. You can pause the video here and try them, or if you haven't started the first few, you might want to go back and start from the very beginning with these questions. Don't end the video yet, because we've got a couple more questions on the next slide. You're not escaping that easy. Here's some more problem solving questions. So if you find that you are flying through those other questions, I would give these 4 a go. They're slightly trickier than what we have been looking at. The only thing that I will remind you of is that a hemisphere is just half of a full sphere. So I would answer the question as if I was doing a full sphere and then divide by 2 at the end to find a half. Again, if there are any issues, post in our Teams chat or send me an email and I will get back to you as quick as I can. Good luck with the questions today, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.